Hi friends, welcome back. In today's video, I will be showing you how I make these simple and beautiful treats for the 4th of July. So I hope that this brings you all the inspiration that you're looking for to make some amazingly delicious desserts for the 4th of July. So let's get started on the first treat. The first one here is a mini cake. I used a 9x13 cake pan and I used 2 boxes of white cake mix. I just baked that for about 20 minutes, I believe is what it was, and then I just let that cool and I wrapped it in saran wrap and used a round cookie cutter to cut all of the round pieces. And then the next thing that I did was some sparkler fruit kebabs. I am cutting watermelon and I will be using a star cookie cutter to make stars for the tops of the fruit kebabs. And then I will use blueberries and I will put them onto the little kebab sticks, and they are super beautiful and so refreshing. So I thought that the fruit would just kind of balance out all the chocolate, not that they're not sweet, but just something refreshing for the 4th of July. I don't know how it is where you live, but here in the desert it is pretty warm the 4th of July, so I just figured this would be nice and refreshing treat for the 4th of July.
What are you doing to me? I think I'm going crazy. Oh, I just want you now. I wanna hold you close, don't wanna take it slow. Oh, I just want you now. I wanna put you in that spotlight, looking at you all night. Put you in that spotlight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you make me feel right.
If this is your first time here watching one of my videos, I want to thank you so much for watching and welcome you. My name is Spring with Spring Soulful Home, and I love to do all things homemaking, home decor, and of course I absolutely love making videos such as today's video, such as treats. I also love doing party planning. So if you're not subscribed and you enjoy watching all of these things, I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. Be sure you turn on those bell notifications so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your support. It truly means so much to me. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I love making these types of videos to give you all the inspiration to make some treats, and I hope that that's what I have done today, is just giving you some inspiration to make some treats. So enjoy, and I will just be explaining throughout the video as I make each new treat. Alright, so now for the kebabs. Basically, you're just going to get your blueberry and put it onto the kebab as you see me doing here. Super simple. Just remember, at the very top you want to leave enough room so that way the top of the kebab goes all the way into the watermelon, so that way you don't risk it falling off. So that would just be one of the tips that I would give you. And as you can see here, I saw it wasn't enough room to go all the way into the watermelon cutout piece that I made. I just wanted to be sure that it stuck in there well without, risk of it falling off.
Tonight we have it all. Good one dancing is one. 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 We've been in 2 places all at once. We said we'll come undone. Feels like our minds have been turned off. Haven't seen each other for so long. I know this isn't a song. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me. 'Cause tonight we have it all. Good one dancing is one.
Alright, and then the next thing that I'm moving on to here is the mini cakes. Now I did put these in the refrigerator just so they can get a little bit more stiff, and as you can see there, I am using just a store-bought frosting. On this particular day, I just thought it would be faster than me making buttercream, and it definitely was. However, I would have much rather preferred making my own buttercream, but I just wanted to keep it simple and super quick, so I am just using a star tip to do my frosting. You can use any type of tip that you'd like, and I'm just piping that around as you can see, and then I'll put my fruit on top, and then I'm also just adding on a few little sprinkles. This is my very first time making these, so this was definitely a first time experiment, but they are delicious and they look beautiful. So I would also highly recommend these. They're a perfect piece of cake for like 2 people to share at a party or whatnot. So they came out super cute, and I definitely love the way they came out, and I will definitely make these have these on repeat. So I hope you enjoy these as well. With your back facing me, I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me, 'cause tonight we have it all. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 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 We've been in 2 places all at once. Was that what we said would come undone? Feels like our minds have been turned off. Haven't seen each other for so long. I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me, 'cause tonight we have it all. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 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 You and me are moving, make sure we get through this. Let's just keep on dancing as one. You and me are moving, make sure we get through this. Let's just keep on dancing as one. 'Cause we're 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 dancing as one. Feel like I was falling through the air. No one let myself to hold my hand. Standing in the shadows of where we have been. Sleeping with your back facing me. I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me, 'cause tonight we have it all. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 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 We've been in 2 places all at once. Was that what
we said would come undone. Feels like our minds have been turned off. Haven't seen each other for so long. I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we close.
Alright, so now the melting of the chocolate. I wanted to show you how I do this. Now, these dark blue wafers, I got them from Hobby Lobby, the red chocolate from Walmart, and the almond bark I got from Walmart as well. Now, the white almond bark, I cut it into pieces and I put it into this microwave safe container. I pretty much use the whole package for the amount of pretzels and strawberries that I am going to make. I usually do have a little bit left over. But first of all, we're going to start off by showing you how I melt this. I just cut it up into smaller pieces, put it into my microwave safe container, and I melt it in my microwave at 30-second intervals. I won't put it for the full 2 minutes because the chocolate will burn every 30 seconds. So you need to check on it, but I do warm it up for about 2 minutes. As I mentioned, in 30-second intervals, and then I mix it up each and every time just to make sure it's nice and melted. And that it doesn't burn. So I would highly recommend, as I mentioned, melting it at 30-second intervals. In between, make sure you stir it so the chocolate doesn't burn and it all melts evenly.
Falling through the air. No one but myself to hold my hand. Standing in the shadows of where we have been. Sleeping with your back facing me. I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me. 'Cause tonight we have it all. We're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one.
Alright, so now we're moving on to the chocolate dip pretzels. I'm using white chocolate. I'm first going to dip my pretzels in them. Now I am leaning the chocolate a little bit more forward, just so that way it can cover most of the pretzel. Then I shake quite the excess off quite a bit and wipe that down a little bit just so I don't have a big puddle. Now on some I did have a bigger puddle, so once the chocolate was nice and set, I did go ahead and just break that off with my hands. So as I mentioned, we're starting off with the white. Then I'm going to dip the tips of these in the blue chocolate. I just left that in a small container, and then once that dries, I already melted my chocolate. Just to let it set for a little bit, I use piping bags to swirl the chocolate onto like my strawberries or pretzels. I personally like that better. I've seen people on TikTok use Ziploc baggies. Whatever is your preference, whatever you feel more comfortable with doing, you can definitely do that. Now when I am swirling, just depending on how thick I want my line across my chocolates to be, I will either cut a very small little hole on the tip of the bag, or I will cut a little bit more off just to give me a thicker line on them. Now here I'm moving on to my strawberries. I've already had these rinsed off and I put them back in the refrigerator, and I'm just lightly drying them off. I don't want any moisture or water to be on my strawberries. I know it looks like I'm being kind of rough on them, but it's just the fast forward of the video. But I do pat them down gently, just as I mentioned, to make sure there's no water or moisture on the strawberries before I dip them in the chocolate. And then I use double toothpicks to stick in the strawberry. Now I don't stick it right in the middle because that part is really soft, so I try to stick it into the meat of the strawberry. All right, so now back to the pretzels. As I mentioned, I was dipping the tips of them in blue chocolate, and then now I've poured my red chocolate into my piping bag, and I cut a small hole at the tip of it. And when you're drizzling, don't be intimidated by this. I know it can seem intimidating. Just go back and forth quickly, not super fast, not super slow. If you go slow, you're gonna have squiggly lines instead of straight lines across. Just move rapidly. If you need to, go ahead and practice on a piece of parchment paper. That's what I've done. You know, even now I still kind of see my mess ups, but just the more you practice, the better you're gonna get. But don't be intimidated by this. Like, just go back and forth with rapid movements across, and as I mentioned, practice makes perfect. Now, while the chocolate is still wet, I am putting on the sprinkles that I want to put on these, just so that way they can adhere to your pretzels, and I absolutely love the way these came out. So now I'm moving on to the chocolate dipped strawberries. My chocolate, it's still the same chocolate that I used for my pretzels. I didn't reheat it. If you need to reheat it, I would say reheat it for 10 seconds, then stir it around and see if that's okay. But I've dipped my strawberries into the chocolate as far as I can, holding back the stems of the strawberries just so I can cover as much red as I possibly can. On some of these I didn't cover it all because I want it to have the red, white, and blue look. Now, as you can see, again, on the swirl on your strawberry, start swirling a little bit before you touch your strawberry, but just go back and forth really rapidly. Don't be intimidated by it. Maybe some of them you might mess up. That's okay. Just keep on trying again and again. And before you know it, you are going to have lines or swirls on your strawberries that you absolutely love. Okay, so for these, as you saw, I dipped half of, about 3/4 of the strawberry in white chocolate. You have to let that dry completely if you're going to double dip in another color. So I dipped them halfways into the blue chocolate. As you can see, always shake off the excess so you don't have a big puddle. Now on these, since I'm putting on sprinkles on them, you want to let or make sure that the chocolate is somewhat moist on there so that way your sprinkles can adhere to the chocolate. I definitely need to get some tweezers when I'm doing this kind of work, and also I need to get used to wearing gloves. I mean, these are just strawberries for here at home for my family, but something I really want to get used to. So this is just an idea that popped into my head. I actually found these sprinkles on accident. They were like hidden, so I'm really glad that I found them. They turned out super cute. I absolutely love them, and I hope that you love them too and you enjoy them and you get some inspiration to decorate some strawberries for the 4th of July. is my favorite part, and that's setting up the dessert table. So I want to go over where I bought these items from. Now the flags and the fabric, I bought those from Walmart. I just bought the fabric in like the pre-cut pieces of fabric. Each of them was a yard. And then the little vases, I already had those. These baskets I had from my daughter's wedding when her and my son got married. I just put some plastic bags and then tissue paper over them to give them some height. And the fabric, I didn't even sew it. I just turned it over, which I'm gonna reuse for the 4th of July, by the way. And this tier tray I bought from Target. I believe it was $5. The little mason jars, we've had those at home. And then the star lights, I bought those at Target in the dollar spot, I think about 2 years ago. So they were like $5 or less, but I absolutely love them. So now moving on to the pretzels and putting them in the mason jars. And now on these, you will most likely have some like chocolate that's hanging over from the drizzle. Just, you know, shake those off with your fingers. And then I brought out some bigger mason jars. I thought that they would be a good fit for the fruit kebabs. They were not, so I just used the smaller mason jar, but I just held it because they were a little bit top heavy. But this came out super cute, and I absolutely love the way this came out. For the strawberries, one thing I want to recommend whenever you're making strawberries, I would recommend buying the little mini cupcake liners and just setting your strawberries in there. Looks much more neat. You can buy these probably for like 100 of them for a couple bucks. Even though I'm just still doing these at home, I always like to put my strawberries in them. Just gives a nicer presentation for them. I sure hope that you enjoyed today's video. I truly love making these kind of videos to give you all the inspiration. And remember, whatever you can imagine as far as a dessert table or a party table, just know that as long as you set your mind to it, you can do it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again, friends. Bye.